I hate introductions, don't you? But it seems like they're always necessary. So here goes. I'm Ashley. I'm a wife, mom, pastor, and missionary's kid, which is double trouble if you didn't know. And if you're in this space, we're here to learn about who God is, who we are in Him, and how to do faith in the real, meaning the real messy. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Chats with Ash. As you can see, I am not at home. I'm actually in West Virginia right now. This is one of my favorite spots to go because I am visiting my friends Justin and Bridget. Bridget's not with us right now, but you're going to be meeting her later. You guys own a 100-acre farm?
Yes.
And it has fields, it has woods, it has pond, it has solitude. And when I come here, I often think, I've told Bridget so many times, this is my soul retreat. There's something about it here that is so quiet. It just makes me feel at peace and at home, and so I always appreciate coming here. Although this time I'm here with 3 boys, plus your 2.
Yes.
So I don't know that it's been quite as peaceful, but we're still enjoying it. Justin has graciously agreed to be here today because we are talking about loss and legacy. And this is not going to be easy for you, so I appreciate it. Justin is slightly emotional like me, so I'm here with Kleenex. We're ready. Okay.
We'll be fine. We're good.
I guess let's give a little backstory about how we met. My mom and your aunt were good friends, and we met when my family was living overseas. It was early 2000s, and my mom would send you emails, right?
Yes. Your mom would send me emails because she wanted to get a letter to my Aunt Becky. And Aunt Becky didn't have internet, so she couldn't email her. So Gail would email me, and I would
run it down through the hallway.
I would get on the 4-wheeler and take her the printed out email and give it to Becky so that she could read what her mom had to say.
Now I don't know the story here really. I can't remember how we actually connected other than I think perhaps my mom said, "My daughter has no friends. Would you consider writing my daughter because she's lonely?"
I honestly don't remember how that started. It's been a long time ago, I guess. So
well, and it's funny because we disconnected, I guess, when I probably came back to the States. Facebook wasn't a thing. I did have a MySpace account. Wow, that dates us. But we connected again through Facebook after we were both married. I had my oldest at the time. And then it's funny because Bridget and I, through you, got connected.
Yes.
And, well, now we're best friends. So it's been a weird but cool journey, how it all happens. Cool. All right, I don't know how much you're comfortable sharing, but we're talking about loss in the context of you lost your dad. He passed away several years ago.
Yes.
Do you want to share any of that?
Yeah, it was September 1st, 2007, and I was at a family reunion, and I received word that my dad had been in an accident and I needed to go to his house. So Bridget and I left the reunion and we flew to my dad's house, and there were lots of people there, vehicles everywhere. And when I got out of my truck there is when I found out that my dad had rolled a tractor and had passed away from it.
Yeah, very unexpected. And that has to be so hard. I mean, loss is hard anyway, but when you're not preparing for it necessarily.
Right. I mean, we had planned to be at his house that evening for a small cookout, so it was very unexpected.
I love hearing you talk about your dad, and you do that often. So how would you describe your dad to those that are listening?
My dad was I remember him as a calm, gentle, caring person. He never really raised his voice at me. Very few times can I remember him yelling at me.
Okay, that's impressive. I'm sorry.
He probably did, maybe. Maybe I just remember the good stuff. But yeah, he was funny. He had a great sense of humor, and he loved making people laugh. He was just like full of joy. Maybe that's a good way to say it.
I love that. You're a lot like that. Kind of a life of the party, social guy. How would you describe his character? I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but...
Dad was... His life revolved around church. He was always in church. Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, Saturday business meeting. If the doors were open, Dad was there, and so was I. He loved having fun. He was a hard worker. He drove a school bus for almost 41 years. I believe it was 41 years. And he called it, he loved his job, and he said he was taking a drive through the country every day, hauling his little darlings.
Wow.
He loved the kids, and he loved driving the school bus.
You've told me before that he had a special something that he would do while he drove.
Dad loved to whistle and sing, and Dad would be singing hymns or whistling about all the time. That was something he loved to do, even while driving the school bus.
That's really neat. What is your favorite memory of him?
Oh, favorite memory. That's a tough one. I have a lot of good memories with Dad. We spent a lot of time together on the farm, fishing, hunting, riding four-wheelers. He was always it just seemed like he was always happy. He was always, no matter what he was doing, he was happy. So there's a lot of good memories. I can't just place one right now. I can't pick and choose on that.
That's good, though, that you have so many to fall back on. What you cannot see if you are watching or listening is this area is very rural. I can't say that word, Bill, but it's country. It's in our hills. Mountains, as I call them, because I'm from the flatlands. But I think it's so neat that you were able to grow up in an area where you were out in nature so much with your dad, building those kind of memories. I've been writing in my personal journal while I'm here, and I keep basically saying the same thing every day, and this is how God intended us to live, out in his creation, just enjoying it. I'm going to move to the country. Okay, moving on. What do you think your dad valued most in life?
I think he wanted to enjoy life. He wanted to be happy all the time. He wanted to help people. He was always helping someone. Dad had a good name in the area. Everyone knew they could come to Dad for help, and he was a good, honest man. And
I heard a story about him just last night helping someone. My mom apparently flew here with me when I was around 1 to visit your Aunt Becky, and your dad helped them because they needed a ride.
That is a funny one. So my Aunt Becky is not the most skilled person to drive in a big city. And although Charleston, West Virginia is not a huge city, she needed someone to drive, I guess, Ashley and her mom back to the airport. So my dad said he would. And Dad is not the first person I would have picked to drive me to the city. But he really wanted to take them. So I didn't even know the story until last night.
That's
so
funny.
That was fun to hear that Dad had taken them back to the airport.
I had no idea. I remember meeting him once. I was a teenager, but I did not realize how much we may have crossed paths in life. If your dad could drop by tomorrow, what would an ideal day look like with him?
I would love to be able to show Dad our farm here, 100-acre farm, and the house we built, and for him to meet my boys. I have a 5-year-old son and another one that will be 2 in October, and I would love for him to get to meet them, and that would be a great day.
I don't know if I know the answer to this. When you look at your sons, do you see him?
I do. I was recently looking at I think it was a middle school picture of my dad in I guess it was junior high back then. And I thought it looked a lot like our oldest son. Yes.
Wow. Both are adorable. They've got me wrapped around their fingers. It's ridiculous. What has the hardest part about grief been to you? And I'm asking you this because I haven't really experienced it, in the way you have.
I think it's the loss of the communication with that person, the interaction with them. There are times where afterwards I would pick up the phone and start dialing Dad's number to realize that he's not there anymore, that I can't call him. So I think that was kind of unexpected.
Has that experience impacted the way that you're communicating with people in your life?
I would like to think it has. I try to be more intentional. I try to, to take the time to see people, talk to people.
I think you do very well at that. Of course, Bridget, and I talk almost every day. So what part of loss surprised you? Because he was the first one that you really, we're very, very close to, right?
Right. I had lost a grandparent, my grandpa, before that. But yeah, Dad was, of course, the closest. I would say the kind of never ending of it. You know, it'll be 14 years, I believe, this September. And we just recently had Father's Day, and it was still tough just looking back through some pictures. And
Do you ever feel like people expect you to just be over it? You know,
right. People have not really acted like that toward me. Everyone kind of understands loss can be difficult, and everyone deals with it differently.
yeah. A person's absence, it can be like an elephant in the room. And I know, maybe it's because I haven't experienced it yet, but sometimes I don't know. Should I bring it up? Should I ask about, was Father's Day hard? Or what's your take on that?
I think every person handles it differently, so you kind of need to know how that person is. For me, I like people being around. I like talking about him. I like keeping that memory alive, so I like talking about him.
You do that really well too. You honor your dad's memory well. And for those that don't know you, how would you say you do that?
I guess I try to teach my boys right. I try to be helpful, be a friendly person.
I was just sitting here thinking, I wasn't intending on this when we started, but you're honoring him now. You're keeping his memory alive here in this space,
cool.
which is kind of cool. But even just yesterday, we were out and about, and your son, your oldest, was telling me about his grandpa in heaven. And I thought, most 4-year-olds who lost someone that they've never met wouldn't talk about them like that. I mean, it's been several times since we've been here
Right.
that he's mentioned it. And that says so much about you and Bridget that you're doing that. How did losing your dad impact who you are as a person and as a dad?
I might already touched on it. I think I want to be more intentional, especially with my boys, to teach them things that I knew Dad would be proud of. To not take time for granted in people.
When I think about you, one word that always comes to mind is that you're intentional. I mean, you are someone that if you know something's going on in our family, if you know that there's a need, if whatever, you're the person that would, give the shirt off your back, heart bigger than Texas kind of person. And I'm assuming a lot of that has to do with your dad.
I would say I get a lot of that from Dad.
That's really special.
Yes, Dad was very giving.
All right, so now you're a dad. What's your favorite part about being a parent?
I would say it is seeing the smile on my boys' faces whenever they're having fun or they're enjoying doing something. We were fishing the other day, and our oldest was reeling in a fish, and just the smile on his face. And I love, I guess, making the memories that someday he'll be able to remember that he has of me.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw it. I snapped a picture of you and your youngest the other day. We were down at the pond, and mine are older, and it's weird because my youngest is only 8, but I already feel this sense of I miss what was.
Yes.
And I was watching you with your youngest, who's under 2, and he, dad, and he flopped into your lap, and you took him, and you were holding the pole and teaching him how to reel in a fish. And stop laughing. They make fun of me because I'm not a country girl, I guess. But that was so precious to see you, that picture of you with your son and just being so intentional. There it is again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What do you want your kids to remember about you?
I guess I want them to remember me as a caring, gentle, humble person. They may not always think that right now, but they're young kids, so
it's a circus.
Yes,
your circus.
They're my monkeys.
Yes.
I want them to also remember, that I'm a good man and that I'm willing to help people. And
every parent-child situation is different. Some are harder than others, and sometimes there have to be different boundaries. But even in that situation, is there something you would say to those of us that still have parents here?
I would say don't wait. If I don't know what your relationship with your parent might be, but there's always time for a phone call, even if you live far away, because you just don't want to have any regrets later in life. Just live without regrets. Know that you've done everything you can to have, I guess, relationship with that person.
Father's Day recently passed, and so I'm curious to know, how has losing your dad impacted your relationship with God the Father?
I know where Dad is, for one thing, and I'm able to tell Levi that he's in heaven.
Yeah.
Grandpa's in heaven. And God is our Father, and even if you don't have an earthly father here, you still have a heavenly Father. And he loves you, and he's wrapping his arms around you, even if someone here maybe on earth is not.
Yeah. It's so precious that I love that that's part of God's character, who he is as Father, and that, like you said, he does care. And I'm thankful for the family that he gives us here, but also the family he gives us through other relationships, and really value your friendship and Bridget's friendship. And if I talk any more about it, I will start crying because you're teary-eyed and that makes me want to cry. So I just want to thank you. I know that this was way outside of your comfort zone, Justin.
Yes, definitely.
But I always tell myself when I make these podcasts that this isn't about me. That I always pray that if there's one person out there that needs what we're sharing, that God will use it to impact them. So if there's somebody out there that can relate to what you've shared, then I hope it's for them.
Good.
So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for doing that for somebody else that you may never see, never know about. So
Thank you. Thank you for asking me to do this.
You're welcome. Guys, I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time on Chats with Ash. Bye.